Do you want to hear the real secret to scaling on Etsy? Well, there isn't one. I'm sure you clicked on this video hoping I was going to give you some secret loophole, algorithm hack, or magic trick to help you scale your Etsy print-on-demand shop. But here's the reality. I was able to scale my Etsy shop from 0 to over 33,000 sales without some secret. It was actually kind of boring. It was focusing on consistency, and it was focusing on doing more of what was working. And if you can let go of that there is some secret hack to scaling your Etsy shop, then you're in the right spot, because today I'm going to show you the exact strategies I use to scale from 0 to 100 sales, and honestly that I still use today as a six-figure Etsy seller. Hi there, my name is Emily, and I'm a top 1% Etsy print-on-demand seller and mom of two. And I love helping others start, grow, and scale their own Etsy print-on-demand shops without the stress and without the overwhelm, selling simple, giftable print-on-demand products. Welcome back to the How to Get Your First 100 Sales on Etsy series. Today we're diving into part 4, which is scaling your Etsy shop. So let's do a little recap. In week 1, we talked about my formula to scaling my Etsy shop, which was the person plus moment formula. Then in week 2, I showed you exactly how to research for ideas to sell using this person plus moment formula. And in last week's episode, in part 3, we dove into the visuals. So how to create simple designs, leaning into trendy ideas, and also automating your mockups. And now in week 4, we're going to be diving into actually how to scale from here. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you exactly what I did with my goals to be able to get to those first 100 sales in only a matter of a couple months. All right, so let's dive in. I work with hundreds of new aspiring Etsy sellers every single week. And there's one thing that I have often seen happen, and honestly, I was guilty of doing this too, which is you get a little bit of success. Maybe you get your first sale or you get your first few sales, and immediately our brains start going to, what can I do next? What shiny object can I get to next? And I am the queen of having what I like to call squirrel brain, which is easily getting distracted and wanting to do the next thing. I see students start to jump to a completely different niche, want to add in all of these new products, when in reality, we should be doing the opposite. So here is the not so secret, very boring hack that I discovered really early on in my shop. Scaling your shop doesn't mean jumping to a million new things. To build actual momentum, to build that snowball effect that you hear about when it comes to Etsy and print on demand, you just need to do more of what is working. And I know that sounds super simple, but I cannot tell you how many new sellers I work with that miss this. And again, including myself, because our human natural response is that, okay, well, this worked. Let me try something else. When in reality, we just need to start doubling down. So how do we actually do that? Here's the secret. It's going to be using templates. It's going to be focusing on consistency, and it's going to be strategic repetition. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. Let's dive into the first piece of that, which is templates. Now, when I was scrolling Etsy early on in my shop, I remember having this very big aha moment. I was looking at a best-selling shop that was selling giftable products when all of a sudden it hit me that their designs all looked the same. And in that moment, I discovered, holy cannoli, this seller has really figured something out. They found a design that worked, and they just replicated it in a variety of ways for different ideas in their niche, and also then branched out to other niches. And a light bulb went off for me that, oh, I don't need to reinvent the wheel every time I sit down to design. If I have a design template, I can use that, change the words, and be able to then scale that design to a lot of different ideas in my niche and to other niches. And here's a little inside secret. I had one design template that I used that I had put on almost 200 products, and several of those went on to become bestsellers. And they took me minutes to design because I already had that base template down. All right, so if you remember last week, we designed a dance teacher choreography journal. And I'm going to show you here on the screen how we could take that design and instantly turn it into a variety of designs for different kinds of teachers, different kinds of dance teachers, and also then take that design and apply it maybe to something outside of our niche when we get to that point. And the best thing about this is when you sit down to design, you're not starting from scratch, because I know how overwhelming that is. When you sit down to design and you're looking at a blank screen, it is the most overwhelming and daunting feeling. But if you're sitting down and looking at a design template you've already created and you're only adjusting it for your ideas that day that you've researched for, it makes the process go so much more efficiently. And I know many of you are busy. Like I was working full time. I had 2 young kids. And so for me, the time that I had was super limited. And so to be able to scale in the hours that I had to work efficiently. And doing this was one of the best aha moment, light bulb moments that I had, because I no longer had to start from scratch and I could just jump right in to my designs. We're not trying to create quantity over quality. Quality is always most important. But if you have that high quality design that you're starting with, and you can then just scale that to a lot of different products, that is going to be chef's kiss and the key to really putting all those fishing rods out there in a strategic way. Let's dive into strategy number 2, which is focusing on one niche at a time. And listen, as the president of the Squirrel Brain Club, I struggle with this all the time, and I still do, honestly. But this is an area that I see aspiring print on demand sellers really have a challenge with, especially in the beginning. Now, I know it might feel a little counterintuitive to what you're thinking, which is, Emily, don't I want to put more fishing rods out there? Don't I want to experiment and try different things? Absolutely. I am not saying that that's not the case, but I want you to hear me out today about why focusing on one niche at a time can be a key to helping you scale your designs and your listings and your shop to those first 100 sales. When you are building that momentum to those first 100 sales, focus is everything. I see it every day in my Gift Lab community where I'm working with students hands-on every single day to help them scale and grow their own Etsy shops. We talk about focus all the time. So why is it so key? Number 1, focus can help you become an expert in that niche. So let's say, for example, we have one seller over here who's working on pet gifts and career gifts and events and mom gifts, and they're doing all these different things all at one time. It's going to be really hard for them to become an expert in any of those niches, because when you're working on a niche or with a specific customer type, what we're really trying to do is become an expert at what do they want? What is trending? What design styles are popular? How can you lean into that and create something unique? And if you're splitting your attention and your focus in 5 different areas, it's very hard to become a true expert. Whereas if we have this seller over here and they're focused specifically on career gifts, for example, and they are diving into the different opportunities there, what types of occasions are popular, everything from teacher appreciation to nurse appreciation week to retirement gifts, graduation gifts, and they're really focused and doubled down in that space. They are going to become an expert and be able to get below that surface level. They're going to be able to dig into that space, and they are going to see that momentum build faster. The second reason why focusing on a niche at a time is so important is efficiency. So we talked about efficiency when it comes to templates, but think about this. If you are focused, let's say, on teacher gifts this week, last week we were working on a dance teacher journal. And if we are focused on teacher gifts, here's what we can do. We can reuse our research. That means we're researching 1 or 2 times getting all of our keywords, getting the designs that are popular. Then we can sit down and design. And then the second part of that is we can reuse our SEO. So our titles, our tags, the keywords that we're using. We're not having to stop every single time we create something and go do research for those keywords as well. So if you're designing, let's say for teachers under that career gifts idea, then you have those list of keywords that you can then tap into and be able to reuse efficiently. Now, if you are looking for more help with your SEO, I want you to watch this week's Coffee and Cha-Chings. I will be diving into my quick strategy for writing SEO that doesn't feel overwhelming or complicated. So don't forget to catch that this week on my channel. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I would share with you exactly what I did in those early months that I truly believed helped me scale my shop quickly, and that is consistency. And I know that sounds really boring. I know it's not some clickbaity title that I can get you $10,000 in sales next month, but I have worked with enough students myself and through my own experience, been able to truly see that consistency is a key part of scaling. When I started my Etsy shop, what is the one goal and thing that I focused on? It was creating 2 Etsy listings per day. Now, you may have heard people say consistency is great for the algorithm, but that's not why I am recommending you to post consistently in your Etsy shop or do consistent work every day in your Etsy shop at the beginning. It's not for the algorithm. It's not for some hack. It's because then you are able to grow and learn faster. Yes, there are thoughts out there that by posting consistently, Etsy favors that. But the reality is, none of us know how the Etsy algorithm works. And anyone who says that they do, unfortunately, may not be telling the full accurate truth. We don't know how it works. So what I like to focus on instead are things that we can control ourselves. And for me, in those early days, it was focusing on 2 listings per day. Because what did that mean for me? It meant I was consistently focused on my shop every single day, but in a way that didn't feel overwhelming. It wasn't 10 listings per day. I wasn't trying to push out 1,000,000 listings at the end of every month. I was focused on slow, strategic goals every single day that I could control. I can't control if a buyer whips out their credit card and decides to purchase one of my products, but what I can control is what I'm creating, what I'm researching, what I'm designing, and what I'm putting out there. 2 listings per day for me personally was doable. I was able to fit that in around my kids' schedule. It kept me on target. It was something I literally on my refrigerator would go and check off every day that I did. Now for you, that number might look different. It might be 1 listing per day. It might be in the beginning, just researching 30 minutes per day. And for some of you, it might be 5 listings per day, and you have to decide what works best for you. But that consistency was so key because it meant that every single day I was taking small baby steps in my shop to get better. It also meant that I had to throw perfectionism out the door because if I wanted to meet my goals every day, I just needed to act and I couldn't stop and think too much about it. Because honestly, here's what I tell my students all the time. What's the worst that's going to happen? No one sees your listing? Okay, I could think of a lot worse things, right? That's the great thing about print on demand is that you can try and you can experiment and you can put stuff out there. There is a 20-cent Etsy listing fee, but outside of that, the risk is very low. And so I loved that freedom to try things, to create things, to try different designs and be able to see what was working. All right, the last scaling strategy, and this is where things get really fun, doubling down. Now, I'm sure you've heard this phrase by now in the print on demand community, which is if something is working, double down. And again, this feels so simple. It feels so straightforward, but honestly, this is so key because as I said earlier, a lot of times our brain goes to shiny object syndrome when in reality, we need to be narrowing in on the things that are working and how can we do more of that. Here are my 2 favorite options for doubling down when you're trying to scale to those first 100 sales. Number 1, create more products in that niche. So let's say we created that dance teacher journal and it got a sale or it was getting favorites. So I want to create maybe a few more dance teacher journals. Maybe I want to do some dance teacher journals or products for specific dance teachers, ballet, tap, hip hop, etc. Also, maybe then branching out to in that kind of general niche of teacher or dance teacher, maybe art teachers or music teachers, kind of in that same vein of the fine arts. And also then maybe the larger umbrella of teacher gifts in general. So I want to continue doubling down on that in that kind of niche, specifically with dance teachers, but also for teachers in general. So that's option one. Option two is using that design template and creating more products, as we talked about earlier with templates, creating more products using that design template. So we want to reuse that design that's working and try to apply it to other ideas, niches, etc. When I started using these scaling strategies, using templates, focusing on a niche, doubling down and having consistency, I really saw things coming together for my shop. But I want to assure you this did not happen overnight. This is not something that happened in one evening where I all of a sudden realized all these things and it all came together. This has been a process, but that's why I'm sharing with you to be able to help you from day one to be able to scale to those first 100 sales in a way that is strategic and efficient, and it doesn't feel like you're just taking a guess. And after doing this and after slowly realizing these things, that's when sales started to slowly roll in. One sale turned into 10, which turned into those first 100 and so on and so forth. And my friends, that brings us to the end of our 4-part series, how to get your first 100 sales on Etsy. If you've been following this series, I'm so glad you're here. And I hope this has helped take away some of the overwhelm and given you the tools and the knowledge to be able to build your shop to those first 100 sales. And if this series has been helpful for you, please let me know in the comments or let me know if there's anything else you'd love for me to cover in an upcoming video. And if you're looking for ongoing support implementing these strategies into your Etsy shop, I'd love to invite you into the Gift Lab community where I'm working with students every single day to be able to help them start, grow, and scale their own Etsy print-on-demand shops, offering everything from trends to evergreen reports and shop audits, design audits, and so much more. The best part is we give you 7 days free in the community to make sure it's a great fit for you, but I'll include all of that information in the show notes below, and I would love for you to join us. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire series. I'm Emily, and I'll see you next time.